Good morning, Kentucky. Anna, we are happy we have made it to the end of the week. Happy Friday.
Yes, a very warm one. In fact, I'm Brooke Hash. We are checking on the traffic, but of course, first meteorologist T.G. Shuck is joining us with a look at that forecast. And if we say it's a bit cooler, you know, maybe like 80 instead of what, 90?
Well, it wasn't 90 to begin with, but I understand what you're going for. Yeah, temperatures this morning, upper 60s to around 70, but it still has that warm and muggy feel, and we really have thunderstorms all around us. We've got this one little batch that's moving out of Adair County off into southern Kentucky, but a little mid-level wave across the Tennessee Valley producing storms to our south, and then we've got the stationary front off to our north producing storms there, and you see some severe weather over toward the St. Louis area. So the warm front is actually laid out to our north. Of course, they got plenty of warm moist air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, so that's going to continue. And the big key out there this morning is humidity. You're going to feel the sticky air, and again, there's so much humidity out there, and with that boundary off to our north, we're firmly south of it. As a result, we could see storms pop up at any time. I really think most of this will be later in the day. There's kind of the bigger picture, a few higher clouds kind of drifting in, but so far pretty quiet here. Looking good on our Morgan & Morgan HD camera network, our lead heating and air conditioning cam from the ARC Center over in Jeffersonville, looking across the river. 74 here in Louisville, 70 in Brandenburg, 67 in Shepherdsville. So outlying areas in the suburbs generally in the upper 60s. We will see a warm start. Few clouds around at noon. Like yesterday, even with the clouds around, we did manage to get into the upper 80s. I think we'll be close again. Scattered storms around. Tomorrow, the front lifts northward, could be even a touch warmer before the main surface cold front arrives on Sunday, and that'll change our weather up a bit next week. Talk more about that in the 7-8 first. Let's get a check of traffic out there on this Friday morning with Brooke.
At 5:32, looking at nice conditions on 71 around Zorn Avenue. The 2nd Street Bridge also up to speed as we zoom out. Southern Indiana and the metro Louisville area is in the green. No major problem spots on our interstates. Anywhere from 9 to 13 minutes for that drive-in from the Snyder. Headed into downtown Louisville, making your way through Clark County right now. It's about a 9-minute drive once you hit the Lee Hamilton, headed down toward the Kennedy and 2nd Street Bridge.
Like I fell to my knees. I was like, no, oh my God.
That man, Eric Gartwright, says he was watching the news when he saw his truck plowed into an SUV and another truck before police swarmed the driver and took him into custody. Now that driver, who LMPD says is Stuart Timmons, is expected in court today. He was booked overnight on charges of fleeing and evading police, wanton endangerment, reckless driving, and first-degree burglary. Police say Thursday's crash was just one of many run-ins with Timmons in the past few days. On Friday, police say Timmons rammed a police vehicle and led them on a chase a day later. And on Sunday, police say he struck again, stealing Gartwright's truck and leading them on another chase. Incredibly, no one was hurt.
I was tickled to death that nobody was hurt, even the perpetrator. I was really glad to see that no one was hurt. And you know, you don't ever want to see anybody hurt.
Timmons was taken to the hospital after that crash. He is in jail and expected to make that first court appearance this morning.
The Jefferson County coroner is asking the Metro Council for more resources and a morgue as a result of a spike in violence and drug overdoses in the last 2 years. Right now, there is no morgue. The county can store 4 bodies a day with the state medical examiner, but has to pay tens of thousands a year to do so. But Weekly Jones says it's a good day if they only have 5 bodies. When it is more than that, they have to pay a private company to help. Coroner Barbara Weekly Jones also says she wants to hire 3 more coroners. In the past 2 years, the county has seen an increase of 750 deaths, and right now a single deputy coroner has to be called to any of those deaths that happen outside a hospital. 9 deputy coroners currently work in the office. That's the same amount since 1977.
There's oftentimes a longer delay than we'd hoped for a family member. Say a family member that has a loved one that has died at home. They can't do anything until the coroner gets there.
The coroner says her situation also affects police investigations. Officers cannot touch bodies until someone from her office shows up, and it takes a while. She says a new morgue could cost anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000.
Oldham County Police are reviewing security footage after vulgar images were spray painted on North Oldham High School. The vandalism references staff members, much of which was covered up immediately Thursday, but one spot 3 stories up remained until administrators rented a cherry picker. The school says the people responsible will face prosecution and appropriate disciplinary action, as well as being charged for the cleanup cost of removing that graffiti. And 5 Ballard High seniors are in trouble this morning after JCPS said they were involved in a prank. JCPS says the students went to another school and egged vehicles in that parking lot. At least 2 windshields also broken. It's not clear if the students will be charged with any of the damage, but the district say they are being disciplined.
Police are investigating after a driver plowed into a crowd in New York's Times Square. It happened around noon Thursday, and police say the driver, Richard Rojas, a Navy veteran, trying to run away after the crash, but was tackled by a traffic agent. An 18-year-old tourist was killed and 22 other people were hurt before the car was stopped by security barriers. Friends of the Michigan teen who was killed describe her as selfless. One says she spoke with her just hours before she died.
Well, I told her to have fun and to take lots of pictures, and she said, I will, I love you.
Now, police say Rojas told officers that he was hearing voices before the crash. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News initial tests have come back negative for alcohol but positive for drugs. It's not yet clear when he'll be in court.
2 women and a child are recovering this morning after falling 30 feet from a Ferris wheel. It all happened in Port Townsend, Washington, Thursday night. Those who saw it happen say one of the Ferris wheel carts flopped upside down and 3 people fell out. All 3 hit the ride's metal flooring. 1 woman flown to a hospital with critical injuries, but all 3, fortunately, are expected to live.
Bill O'Reilly is warmly remembering former Fox News Channel founder Roger Ailes, who died after a fall at his house on Thursday. During a 4-minute tribute on his podcast, O'Reilly praised Ailes as a visionary and someone who didn't take any gruff from the left or the right. Ailes was ousted from Fox in July after accusations of sexual harassment. O'Reilly was fired from his top-rated show in April following reports of sexual harassment. The time right now is 5:37 and still ahead here on GMK. A happy moment for a man who lost so much.
Next here on GMK, the surprise he got after a tornado destroyed his home. Who made it happen and how long the recovery may take.
And a record set how much this painting sold for at an auction and what the new owner is planning to do with it. That's on the other side of this break. TG?
Hey, good morning, Kentuckiana. Meteorologist TG Shuck. It's going to be a warm and muggy day on this Friday. So far, it's dry across much of Kentuckiana, and it's been much more like it as far as afternoon highs over the last week or so. We have been well above average much of this week. That's going to continue into the upcoming weekend. We'll talk about that coming up. But first, our Kentucky Lottery jackpot numbers, Mega Millions at $43 million. Kentucky